So we got to talk about something that's pretty serious, actually, because, if you think about things objectively, of course, the correct reaction to what's happening now is, I bet you Democrats are going to sweep in the midterms. I bet you they're going to crush in 2028. And that's all fair. But I think the concern everybody also has is, how do we know the 2026 elections will be free and fair? How do we know the 2028 elections will be free and fair? How do we know we're even going to have 2028 elections at this rate, how we're going now, right? And so, to make it even worse, to add insult to injury, to rub salt in the wound, which is already fucking open and festering, here we have a report from CNN which explains how, guys, this could get even worse. So we already have the gerrymandering that Republicans are doing. And if we get to gerrymandering, which clearly we are, they have more gerrymandering they could do, which would net them more seats, right? Like, that's where we are. But it still gets worse even than that. Ready? Listen to this.
Actually represents pretty accurately, mathematically, how the country is divided over the question of the presidency. But if you look at this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5. Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas, 1. New Hampshire, 1. And Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. And don't forget, the Supreme Court is considering what could really be the end of the Voting Rights Act, which would protect minority groups. So you don't have a state that's half black, for example, that elects only one congressional member and everybody else goes to the Republicans that would represent that population in some way. So if that is gutted, Democrats could lose 19 seats. This would be a huge amount. But this is also a measure of how much the White House is concerned about this, because Donald Trump knows if the Democrats get the House again, there could be new investigations, just like last time. There could be a new impeachment. There could be a lot of impediment to these plans that right now the Republicans in the House and Senate are letting run like a freight train.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. How do we know that Trump, let's say the elections are fair in 2026, Democrats win, how do we know Trump's going to fucking seat him? He could decide to do the same shit that he always, they lied, they rigged it, they stole it. And that's why we're not going to sit them. We're going to do the rightful winners. The Republicans will be sat. Like, how do we know? We don't know that. We don't know that. It's less likely than in an election with him literally in it. I'll grant you that. But it's still possible that he does that shit. Fucking of course he could. Right? But listen to what he's saying here. There's a Supreme Court case in front of them right now. They just had oral arguments, by the way. And in those oral arguments, the flavor was clear. They're leaning towards basically fully axing the Voting Rights Act. They already fucking gave it a broken arm and a broken leg. It's already fucking hobbling along, barely surviving, right? We've already taken some fucking body blows in this bitch. Now they're saying, if they make this decision, Democrats could lose 19 seats. So this would be yet another way in which the right is rigging it. The right is cheating. Because, guys, this is what I hate. We're always having to fight old battles we already won. We already won the gerrymandering battle. Everybody knows gerrymandering is bad and wrong. But then the Republicans are like, fuck it, we're going to do it anyway. Go fuck yourself. Who cares? Then that leads to Gavin Newsom reacting correctly, going, okay, well, if you're going to do it, we have to fucking do it to offset you. But like I said, they have more seats they could gerrymander. They just have more control so they could get more gerrymandered seats so that it'll be biased in their favor no matter what we do, even if every Democrat that can does gerrymander, right? 19 seats Democrats could lose if the Supreme Court overturns the Voting Rights Act. Bro, at that point, like I said, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing anymore? Like, I don't even understand what we're doing. And this is on top of in 2024, they brought back a bunch of these Jim Crow era laws with ballot purging and ballot spoiling, and you can object to somebody voting, saying, I don't think they're a citizen, and then that defaults to them having to do a provisional ballot. Only half the provisional ballots get counted. This is all on the record. This is all Greg Palast stuff that we know for sure, investigative journalist. He studied this stuff inside and out. So there was already ways they were rigging it. There's already ways they were putting their thumb on the scale. And then now they want to steal 19 more seats, which it looks like they're going to fucking do. Again, I'm going to repeat it. What are we doing here? I really think it's time for national divorce. I really do. Let the red states of America have their own thing, and then we'll have the blue states of America. So what'll happen is you'll have basically the West Coast and the East Coast, the West Coast and the Northeast, right? And just like a touch of the Midwest. That'll be the blue states of America. You could have a land bridge or not, doesn't really matter. And then in the middle, Texas, in the middle, down to Florida, that'll be the red states of America. You guys, You'll have a solid conservative majority. You do whatever fucking policies you want. We'll have a solid blue majority in our states. We'll do whatever the fuck we want. And we'll have two separate countries. And guys, that's honestly, I'm starting to think this is like the only way we'll see the policies I want to see in my lifetime. It's the only way we'll get to universal health care and free college and a living wage. That's the only way that will fucking end the wars. That's the only way our quality of life will go up. We'll start self-report being a lot fucking happier. That's the only way we'll keep church and religion separate. Because these Republicans have lost their minds. They are running fucking wild. They not only are they not playing fair, they are announcing that they're no longer going to play fair, right? Like Trump with his executive order saying he wanted Elon to oversee the 2026 and 2028 elections, right? Like, if we're beyond even like you thinking you don't even think you need to pretend anymore to be fair, objective, open, well then, if we're that far gone, I don't get the point. Like, what's the point? What are we doing here? What are we doing? And so, in a scenario where they do this, we could get to a point, guys, where even there would be no such thing as a too big to rig vote for Democrats. And think about how disastrous that would be. Where even with all these things that are biased, there's no such thing as too big to rig. That's crazy to me. That's fucking crazy to me. That you can make it so that it doesn't matter how many Democratic votes there are, how many more Democratic votes there are than Republican votes. Republicans still have the majority. It officially makes it a one-party state. It would officially make it totalitarian rule. And I need Democrats to wake up and realize what we're up against here, and realize that this is a 5-alarm fire, bro. This is an emergency situation, and we need to be planning in every way imaginable to deal with the fallout of this, because we've basically let them get away with everything. I read a great tweet the other day. They said something like, if you're playing chess with somebody and they decide to knock you out, punch you in the face and knock you out, you're not gonna beat them by getting better at chess. And that's kind of how I feel about this country now. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, if you're a leftist, that's where I think we are. And so, it behooves us to fucking continue to learn how to be better at chess, right? Like, it's time to go beyond that. And if that requires national divorce, so be it. But the radicalization of the Democratic base, even though it's happening at a record pace, it needs to happen faster. And when I say radicalization, I mean it with the positive connotation. It needs to happen faster, because none of us should be standing for any of this. These are vile, vile people with no regard for rules, laws, regulations, fairness, equality, justice, kindness. They are bad people, and they want bad things for all of us. And so it's time we do something about that. And I think the most logical thing is probably separation, if indeed these things, the chips fall like it looks like they're about to right now. On that sad note, we'll wrap it up. But thank you guys for listening. As always, appreciate you. As you all know, you can sub to the channel. That helps out big time. You can support the show on Patreon. You can support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. And you can go sub for Corn's World 2 on YouTube, because we do live Kyle and Corn episodes. You guys can come hang out with us for those. And that's all I got for you today, man. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. We have Kat Abu-Ghazaleh on the show. She's, of course, running for Congress, and she's been on the front lines of these ICE protests, and she's been getting assaulted by ICE officers. So you don't want to miss that. It should be a great conversation. All right, I'll see you guys there. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.